Back to TR3 though, when do you think we will have the combat encoded software available? Because we have 100, I think about 150 airplanes that, I mean, I guess we could use them for training, but we can't send them to do their jobs.
Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona is not asking as a spectator. He is a Democrat, a former Navy combat pilot, and a former astronaut. He begins by acknowledging the F-35's power, Midnight Hammer, Iran, and his own experience flying an F-16 against one. That matters. Kelly is not arguing the jet has no value. He is asking whether every aircraft being counted is actually ready to fight. More than 100, possibly 150, F-35s have TR-3, but the software is delayed, and the witness says it is not currently combat coded. Watch how a technical upgrade becomes a readiness gap.
My understanding is TR3, there's over 100 airplanes that have Tech Refresh 3 in them, but the software is still, some of the software is delayed. Would you consider, I'm not sure even who the question should be directed to, would you consider those airplanes ready to fly, and have any of them seen combat, the ones that have Tech Refresh 3?
So I've flown the F-35 with the TR-3 software. It's, Senator, not currently combat coded because of the developmental issues that we're working through. So the aircraft that are currently deployed are not using that software. They're using an older software that is fully combat capable. I'm confident that we will get there on TR3. I have a long experience with the F-35 program, and I think I share some of the members' frustration. But we continue to make the program better. It will be the backbone of the U.S. Air Force and many other Air Forces fighter fleet for many years to come. We look carefully toward the future and assess the trends and where they're going and make sure that the upgrades like Block 4 are going to bring the capabilities that will keep it relevant in the future.
And any timeline for when we're going to see a Block 4 airplane?
I don't have the timeline specifics. It is still several years away. Block 4, is, I think you're aware, has slipped considerably over the years. One of the challenges that we have from a modernization perspective, and I would say the F-35 is one of the more difficult programs in this regard. The bigger and more complex the upgrade, the more difficult it is to update it. And so some of the initial requirements documents for Block 4 were written many years ago, and the threat has shifted since then. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that the Air Force grapples with is how do we balance the tension between freezing the requirements, which helps us to move more quickly in field capability, but at the same time being responsive as the threat environment changes. And that'll be a big part of my responsibilities in the A57, Senator.
Yeah, I think for a complicated weapon system like the F-35, it's hard to have a innovation cycle. I mean, first of all, for us, our innovation cycle is really long to begin with. It's not like, what the Ukrainians can do in a drone factory every 2 weeks. They can make changes and get them incorporated. I get that. Back to TR3, though, when do you think we will have the combat encoded software available? Because we have 100, I think about 150 airplanes that, I guess we could use them for training, but we can't send them to do their jobs.
Senator, I'd like to take that question for the record. I'm working now on the requirements side, and I've been away from that for about a year now. My sense is it's months, not years, but let me take that and get you the right answer.
And then a quick update on APG-85 and also the engine core upgrade. When would we expect to see those?
So I'd like to turn it over to my acquisition counterpart to address the specifics, but as far as I know, both of those are on track. We have had some growth issues with the APG-85, but I believe that we will get there, Senator.
Okay. General?
Yes, sir. So I think all of those TR3 related capabilities that are needed to get to fully combat coded aircraft are actively being worked by the JPO and Lieutenant General Masiello. There are a number of additional capabilities on that upgrade that we can't really go into here, but to General Niemey's point, I'm happy to also take the specifics on each of those capabilities that need to get upgraded into TR3 for that combat-coded aircraft to be viable and get back to you with those details.
And then how about on the engine core upgrade?
Yes, sir, same.
Same thing.
I can take that as well and get you those details.
Any concern of yours, unit cost? I mean, the unit cost on F-35 has come down significantly over the years, but that's, often largely because we've been selling them to a lot of our international partners. Have you had to make any calculations on unit cost for us now as we add planes to the fleet based on some of our allies starting to, seems to me they're going to possibly walk away from the program? Not entirely, but there's been some discussion about smaller buys by some of our allies. Is that going to have an effect on us?
So that's something that we've kind of, as we go into each program cycle, developing 27, and as we're starting to develop 28, we've worked very closely with the JPO to kind of get a sense for where all of the procurements are, to that very reason, to understand kind of what the per unit price is going to be. We don't see a lot of variation right now in the FMS sales, so we're not anticipating wild swings. As you said, rightfully, the prices are coming down gradually, but it is something that we keep in the cross-check as we look at the next year's programming.
All right, thank you.
What Kelly puts on the record is not an attack on the F-35. It is a line between two things Washington treats as the same: a jet that has been delivered and a jet that is ready to fight. He starts by giving the program credit. Midnight Hammer, Iran, flying an F-16 against an F-35. He says the aircraft was nearly invisible before the merge. Kelly is not claiming the platform has no value. He is asking whether the aircraft being counted can do the mission. Then he names the upgrade, Technology Refresh 3. TR3 is supposed to prepare the F-35 for the next generation of capabilities. But when Kelly asks whether those aircraft are ready, the sworn testimony narrows the answer. The witness says he has flown the F-35 with TR3 software. Then he says it is not currently combat-coded because of developmental issues. The deployed aircraft, he says, use older software that is fully combat-capable. A jet can be in the inventory. It can train pilots. It can appear in procurement totals. But if it cannot be sent into combat with the software it was upgraded to carry, the number on paper is not readiness. Kelly makes it concrete, about 150 aircraft. He asks when the combat-encoded software will be available, because those jets may train, but cannot be sent to do their jobs. The answer does not close the file. The witness gives no date. He says he would take the question for the record. His sense is months, not years. But a sense is not a schedule. It is not a deadline. It is not commitment in the record. Then Kelly turns to Block 4. Again, the answer is limited. No timeline specifics. Still several years away. Block 4 has slipped considerably. Then come APG-85, the engine core upgrade, and unit cost. More complexity, more promises. Details left for later. When defense systems slip, the cost is not abstract. It shows up in training cycles, deployment plans, maintenance schedules, and national security assumptions. Pilots plan around it. Squadrons plan around it. Taxpayers fund around it. Congress approves the next budget before the last promise arrives. A government can invest in advanced weapons, but when public money is being spent, the public is owed more than confidence. It is owed a record, a timeline, a distinction between what has been delivered and what is actually ready. Kelly does not accuse first. He builds the file, capability, software, combat coding, Block 4, cost, timeline. He separates flying from fighting, procurement from readiness, a promise from a usable system, and if 150 jets are counted as part of the force, but still cannot be sent to do the mission they were built for, that is not a footnote. That is a readiness gap with a price tag.